Imagine a world where the most sacred and influential text in human history is not just a dusty, ancient manuscript, but a vibrant, living document that continuously evolves. This is the reality of the Bible in the modern era. For centuries, the Bible has been a cornerstone of faith, culture, and literature. Yet, it has not remained static. Instead, it has undergone numerous translations and revisions, each one reflecting the linguistic, cultural, and theological currents of its time. This video explores the fascinating journey of the Bible in modern languages, focusing on the German Luther Bible, the New English Bible, and the innovative translations that have emerged in the 20th and 21st centuries. In Germany, the Luther Bible holds a place of unparalleled significance. For German Protestants, it is not just a translation, but the definitive version of the Bible. This reverence is akin to the status of the King James Version, KJV, in English-speaking Protestant communities. Martin Luther's translation, completed in the 16th century, was revolutionary in its time. It made the Bible accessible to the common people and played a crucial role in the Reformation. However, the language and style of the original Luther Bible have evolved over the centuries. The latest revision, published in 2016, was a conservative effort that aimed to update the text while preserving its essential style. This revision was timely, coinciding with the 500th anniversary of the Reformation in 2017. The 2016 Luther Bible takes into account recent advances in biblical scholarship, ensuring that it remains a reliable and relevant resource for modern readers. While the Luther Bible represents a conservative tradition, the New English Bible, NEB, took a different path. Initiated by the Church of Scotland, the NEB was a fresh translation that sought to render the biblical text in contemporary English. Published in 1961, New Testament, and 1970, Old Testament and Apocrypha. The NEB was a collaborative effort involving scholars from various denominations. Its goal was to produce a translation that felt as if it had been written yesterday, while still respecting the original languages. The NEB avoided archaic language, such as the second-person singular forms thou, thee, which were retained in the Revised Standard Version (RSV) for addresses to God, but not to humans. The NEB also introduced innovative formatting, setting the text in continuous paragraphs rather than traditional verse divisions. This made the text more readable and accessible to modern readers. In the Old Testament, the NEB was particularly radical, rearranging the text where it was thought to be muddled and introducing new meanings of Hebrew words based on related Semitic languages. However, these innovations were not without controversy. Some scholars criticized the NEB for its departures from the traditional text, and the Revised Version, the Revised English Bible Reb, which appeared in 1989, often reversed these changes. Before the NEB, several individual scholars had already begun the task of translating the Bible into modern English. James Moffat, a British scholar, published his New Testament in 1913 and the Old Testament in 1924. Edgar J. Goodspeed, an American, published his New Testament in 1923. These translations were pioneering in their use of contemporary language and idioms. J.B. Phillips, another British scholar, published his New Testament in 1958. Phillips's translations were particularly noted for their ability to capture the cultural and idiomatic nuances of the original text. For example, the holy kiss in Romans chapter 16, verses 16 becomes a hearty handshake all round, and friend go up higher in Luke chapter 14. Verses 10 is rendered as my dear fellow, we have a much better seat for you. These translations, while innovative, also highlight the challenge of maintaining the timeless message of the Bible while adapting it to modern sensibilities. In France, the Bible de Jérusalem, produced by the Dominican École Biblique in Jerusalem, set a new standard for biblical translation. Published in sections between 1948 and 1955. This translation enlisted the help of poets and literary scholars to ensure that the text was not only accurate, but also beautiful. The Bible de Jérusalem paid no attention to earlier French versions, allowing it to break free from traditional constraints. In 1966, an English translation of this Bible, the Jerusalem Bible JB, was produced. It quickly gained popularity among Catholic readers and students of the Bible. The JB was notable for its attempt to capture the rhythms and tone of the original text, rendering the Gospel of John in a stately style, Paul in colloquial English, and the prophets in a broken, urgent idiom. The Jerusalem Bible was thoroughly revised in 1985 as the New Jerusalem Bible NJB, further refining its approach to translation. For Jewish readers, the King James Version and its revisions were not sufficient. In the 20th century, the Jewish Publication Society in the USA produced a new translation of the Hebrew Bible, known as the Tanakh. First published in 1917, this translation was revised in 1985. The Tanakh uses modern English, but adheres closely to the Hebrew and Aramaic texts, avoiding emendations even where the Masoretic text is corrupt. This makes the Tanakh particularly useful for study purposes, especially when used in conjunction with a commentary like the Jewish Study Bible. The Tanakh's commitment to accuracy and fidelity to the original text sets it apart from many Christian translations. The third type of translation, known as imitative translations, seeks to capture the cultural and linguistic distance between the original text and the modern reader. These translations deliberately introduce alien ways of speech into the target language, creating a sense of the text's foreign origin. This approach is particularly evident in the work of Jewish scholars, who have produced translations that imitate the structure, style, and vocabulary of the original Hebrew. One of the most notable imitative translations is the German version by Martin Buber and Franz Rosenzweig, which began appearing in 1926. Their translation of the Pentateuch aimed to adapt German to mirror grammatical and syntactical features of Hebrew. For example, "Let there be light" became "licht word, light be," and the burnt sacrifice known as the Ole became "darher," hung, upraising. Buber and Rosenzweig's translation was intended to capture the oral and concise nature of Hebrew, creating a text that felt both ancient and fresh. In France, and Ray Chowracki produced a similarly imitative translation in the 1970s. Chowracki's work was favored by literary figures like André Malraux and theologians like Hans Urs von Balthasar. His translation of the Hebrew Bible was particularly innovative, coining new words and phrases to capture the root meanings of Hebrew terms. For example, to be angry became narinar, derived from the Hebrew word for nostril, conveying a sense of the text's originality and strangeness. In English, Everett Fox and Robert Alter have produced translations that aim to present the Bible in English dress, but with a Hebrew voice. Fox's translation of the 5 Books of Moses, published in 1983, emphasizes the repetition and wordplay found in the original Hebrew. For example, in Genesis chapter 32, verses 21 to 22, Fox preserves the repetition of the word face, panim, to convey the emotional and dramatic intensity of the text. Robert Alter's translations, while more accessible, also strive to capture the literary and linguistic nuances of the Hebrew Bible. The Bible, in its myriad translations and revisions, continues to be a living document that speaks to the modern world. From the conservative tradition of the Luther Bible to the innovative approaches of the New English Bible and imitative translations, each version brings the ancient text to life in new and meaningful ways. As we navigate the complexities of language, culture, and faith, the Bible remains a source of inspiration, guidance, and challenge. Its enduring relevance is a testament to the power of the Word and the human quest for meaning.